Hey students, hope y'all having a good last week of school for many of you. I know this day's been a long time coming. It's been a weird, challenging year for many of y'all. Just having those conversations with y'all, I know it's been difficult, and so you're at the end. Keep going, finish strong. It seems appropriate that this past Sunday we talked about the idea of too long, right? That sometimes we can feel like, okay, God, when are you going to act? When are you going to work? When are you going to show up and do something? And the temptation that comes with that, the struggle that comes with that temptation really is to take matters into our own hands, or the counterpoint also to kind of say, hey, I just don't care anymore, and treat it like it's no longer important to wait on God. And really that's anything in life, though. Is that when things take a long time, we're tempted to just kind of say, is this really all that important anymore? And when it comes to following God, we have to say, yes, absolutely. Ultimately, both responses, whether we take matters into our own hands or we say, you know what, I'm going to slack off. I'm not going to care anymore. Both responses are ultimately a lack of trust when we get into it, a lack of faith. That when we look at Proverbs 3:5, as I have here, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. Feeling like and believing that God is taking too long is the epitome of leaning on your own understanding, because we're in essence saying, okay, God, I know better than you. My understanding of the situation is better. You need to do what I say when I say it, right? Like that's ultimately where that path leads us down. It's a very dangerous path to go down because it leads to rebellion, as we see with Israel when Moses takes forever to come down from the mountain. I mean, he's up there for 40 days and 40 nights by the time he comes down. And, at some point during the midst of that, they're going, okay, we don't even know what's happened to him. And so they tell Aaron, get up, rise up, make us this golden calf so that we can worship this idol, which God, less than, a few chapters ago, basically said, don't do this, right? Like, do not make idols. I don't want you to be like the nations around you. And so they were willing to build this idol that they could follow and use as a representative as Yahweh, as the Lord that had delivered them from Egypt, right? And so we don't want to be like Israel in that regard. They face some pretty harsh consequences before God renews the covenant and brings the covenant back up again, reminding them of the promises he has for them and what he wants and desires from them, which ultimately from all of us is a life of faith and trusting him and letting him lead and guide us. So, we kind of talked about this idea of investing in our faith towards the end of Sunday's message. And again, what are you doing? Right? Are you following through on what you said you could do on Sunday? Right? Are you actually applying the things you talked about in small groups? How is your faith doing? How have you seen God work? What can you acknowledge him in to bolster your faith this week? What habits can you form, especially as you reach the end of the school year and your temptation is just going to be lazy and sleep in and do nothing? That's the temptation. Some of you, I know, that can't happen. You've got a full summer planned. But the temptation is going to be there to sleep in and say, I just won't study God's word today. I won't study the Bible today. I'll do it later. I'll do it tonight. And then before you know it, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you're not asleep yet. And you're going, I should probably go to sleep instead of studying God's word, which you should have studied God's word earlier at that point, right? So the idea is that we invest in our faith. Because when we invest in our faith, it's going to help us during those times where we've seen God's faithfulness. We say, I know God's been faithful in the past on his own timing, so I'm not going to believe that God is taking too long right now. I'm not going to believe that God is taking too long to act. So again, how is your faith doing? What are you doing to invest in your faith? I'm excited for the summer for you guys, and I pray that it is one where your faith is stretched and grown as we go through our normal stuff, but then we also have the kind of special events like camp and our mission trip to Reynosa, VBS serving there. And we've got some more fun stuff planned, but ultimately our hope and our goal with everything we plan is that it would point you more towards Jesus and you would grow in your faith, your love for him, that you would see the truth found in his word, the wisdom found in it, as we've been talking about this past semester. So love you guys, praying for a good, strong finish to the school year for y'all. Looking forward to getting back on track with our normal programming coming up summer and seeing you guys on a regular basis again. So love y'all. See y'all later.